You know, I
You can't look at my cheat and say, "Yeah, I'm not doing
I
that."
did 28 years in law enforcement.
Otherwise, I'll be standing here. Otherwise, I'll be standing here next to you, right? And not getting a
I
paycheck.
did 28 years in the Department.
Mid-American Patriot. Get some.
What happened today, Eddie?
Okay, so what happened today is we were at a Trump rally in Utica, Michigan, at the northwest corner of Hall Road and Shaner, and as I said, in the city of Utica.
What are you guys doing there?
Well, we do our normal Trump rally in the city of Utica. That's on that corner there where the TGI Fridays used to be.
Okay.
And so I was setting up the tent. I got there approximately at 11 a.m. So I arrived finally on time and started setting up the tent. Small, I think it's 6x6 tent. And then I started putting the table up with the Trump flags and the anti-Biden flags. There was one Trump, don't blame me, I voted for Trump bumper sticker left. And I think a couple of Ryan Kelly business cards and a couple of Terrence McCoskey business cards that were left. And I had those on the table along with the laminated sheets to show what each flag looks like, along with my county vendor's permit from Macomb County that's for Eddie's Quality Merchandise, and then also my commercial liability insurance that's also in my name and also in the name of Eddie's Quality Merchandise.
So what is Eddie's Quality Merchandise? Tell me about that.
Eddie's Quality Merchandise is my vendor's name that I use when I go to the different vendor auctions in order to obtain merchandise that I use for my storefront. Also, when I have done flea markets, I have to have commercial liability insurance, not only from my vans when traveling from either storage or my storefront to said location, or when I'm going to any of these locations, I have to have commercial liability insurance, and I also have to have commercial liability insurance in case somebody would like stub their toe on the table, or if they were not paying attention and they ran their face into the tent pole or something like that. I have to have liability insurance. So it's under the Eddie's Quality Merchandise name.
Let me ask you this quick question. This isn't your first time doing this then? You've done this before?
No, I have been raising money for the Trump campaign in 2016, also in 2020, and now we're raising money for the Trump 2024 campaign here in 2021. Hopefully we can get our president in before then.
So you're telling me then that you give proceeds to the elections?
So yes, initially what happened is in 2016 there was a complete donation check done at the end of the season where we could not go out and do rallies anymore, and then that was sent to the Trump Macomb County Trump campaign. There was a photograph taken with Mark Fortin and Caitlin Vire of when I presented them with the money order check before it was mailed out to the Trump campaign in Washington, D.C. And then there was another one that was sent out in 2020 when Trump relocated to Mar-a-Lago in Florida for the Trump 2020 campaign, and the funds were sent there. I believe the first year it was somewhere around $3,000. The second year it was exactly $3,300. And this year here, I think right now I'm somewhere between $700 and $800.
Okay, so it's not really over. Like, we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars, so a couple $1,000s on the election. Okay,
no, this is really grassroots.
Yeah.
The flag merchandise comes from the official Trump merchandise store, which is in Washington, Florida. And then it's mailed out from Washington, Georgia, because Washington, Florida is too small of a town to have their own post office.
Okay, so let me ask you this, coming back to today. So we established that you've been doing this for a long time. You're politically active. You're giving a good amount of proceeds away to charity or to politicians or to your to your politician, President Trump. What happened today? What was different about today than any other day?
Well, it seems to be, as you stated, that as being the only conservative on the Warren City Council, that conservatives have been of late targeted for criminal action or intervention by the police to dissuade from our efforts to rally for Trump and to raise money for Trump and raise awareness on how Biden and the Biden administration is totally horrible for this country, including the local administration in Gretchen Whitmer, Nessle and Benson, and Dana Nessel are also horrible as well for the state of Michigan, which are avid Biden-Harris supporters.
Okay, so what happened today when you were vending as normal? Again, this is the first time that you've had any problems legally with your vending, isn't it?
Yes. So today, as I said, I arrived at 11 a.m. Started putting up the tent as usual. I secure the tent frame first with tent pegs to make sure it doesn't blow out into the street. This is on the easement between the private parking lot that was once owned by the TGI Fridays Corporation, which is now abandoned and is owned by another set of individuals now. And the city easement, which is abutting to the parking lot of the TGI Fridays up to the city curb. So the tent, which is 6 feet by 6 feet, fits on the easement property there, the city-owned property, and my vehicle is parked in the number 2 space at the very northern end of the TGI Fridays border. So once the tent pegs were placed up, I put the tent rested together, I put up the table, I put up the flags, and then I put up the new shirts that say "Conservative Values Matter." No vulgarity, a very positive message about how conservative values matter. In the same kind of a font and style design as the Black Lives Matter t-shirts. Well, this is saying conservative values matter. So once that was done, I went and left to go to the KFC drive-thru so that I could get Fred and Mike both their raspberry teas, and then I got my lunch for the day, which was one of the chicken sandwich boxes from KFC. And then I came back, I gave Fred and Mike their teas, and I sat down and began to eat. There was a customer that came up and asked what we were doing, and I said, well, this here is Trump merchandise from the official Trump store in Washington, Florida. I also have t-shirts here that say Conservative Values Matter, and these are donations for the Trump 2024 campaign. So there is my permit from the county that's at the very right-hand corner of the table, and then on the left-hand corner of the table is the liability insurance from Nationwide Hickox. So it's prominently displayed, so anybody can see that. And then the various flags, which there's about 8 different style flags there, along with 3 boxes of sheep, the American flag, and then the 1 bumper sticker I mentioned, along with the 2 business cards for Ryan Kelly and then Terrence McCoskey.
What happened? You're sitting there, and what happened to you?
So I would say approximately 1 p.m. in the afternoon, escorted by Fred, was a Utica police officer by the name of Officer Plante. He came up and said that they had gotten multiple calls, multiple complaints throughout the week and also today, and he had been instructed by the mayor, the police chief, and the city attorney that there was not to be any tolerance anymore for the Trump rally at that northwest corner where the TGI Fridays was, so that they were going to enforce the ordinances applicable to breaking up that rally from taking place any longer. So I don't think I was the first stop in his journey to dissuade the individuals from being there anymore, but he came over there and told me that I did not have a seller's permit for the city of Utica. And then I explained, well, I have the county's vendor permit for my business, and I have my liability insurance. And since county ordinance would trump a city ordinance, then I'm covered. Well, this was not acceptable to him. He says, you have to pay for a $500 sales permit for the city of Utica. And I said, well, the city of Utica is a lower municipality than the county, and that I was not going to be doing that, and that I was not even selling. I was taking donations for the Trump merchandise. And just as any other event that's done, the Lincoln Day dinners or Pizza and Politics or whatever, there are donations that are given to attend these events that go towards fundraising or for campaigns. So in order for that to be done, there's donations because everything costs. So that's what was being done here, was collecting donations for the Trump 2024 campaign today.
And what was the police department's reaction to you selling your merchandise on behalf of the campaign?
Well, the police officer identified himself as being a conservative.
Was he?
His actions did not deem that of being a conservative. I also explained to him that I understand he has a job to do. Being retired military law enforcement myself, I understood, and I hope he understood the oath of office that he swore to. And evidently, he did not seem to understand the constitutional guarantee under the First Amendment that affords us the right to peacefully assemble. And that's what we were doing. We were peacefully assembling. And this was collecting donations for a political campaign. And this was not vending. This was not selling. And I don't seem to think that the Utica patrol officer seemed to understand that.
And so you were detained?
I was arrested. What took place was I called over Michael and I called over Fred, and I said, they're getting ready to tear down this whole rally. They're about to apprehend, detain, and possibly arrest everybody here. So I have explained before to individuals, as being in a leadership position, I've been taught to throw myself on the sword for the benefit of saving others from certain death.
All right. So with that being said, you were arrested, taken to the Utica Police Department. Let me ask you this question. How many different rallies across the state would you say that you have done for Eddie? What is it? What is the name of your business again?
Eddie's Quality Merchandise.
Eddie's Quality Merchandise. So, how many rallies would you say across the state that Eddie's Quality Merchandise has attended, has been a part of?
Across the state?
Yeah, because we're talking about one city,
Multiple.
right? So
Multiple.
More than 5?
Yes.
More than 10?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have one city that is going to start enforcing a particular ordinance which seems to be
contrary and repugnant to the Constitution.
It's not even contrary. It seems what they want to do is they want to make it hard for small businesses at their discretion to be able to do business within their town. Would this be a correct assumption?
Well,
$500 versus $100 fine seems to be. It sounds like they're trying to prevent people from.
As I told the officer, I said, this is no different than the thought police, right out of Orson Welles' 1984. That's exactly what this is. If you are expressing a thought that is not accepted by the mass government authority, then you are going to be prosecuted. You're going to be called off to jail for your independent thought or your contrary thought. And that's exactly what was occurring here today.
What kind of resolution do you see for this?
Well, the resolution I see is I have to contact the city within 10 days. of receiving this notice. I have to schedule or find out when they're going to schedule the arraignment and then the trial, if there's to be a trial. I don't intend on paying the fine. I don't intend on getting any sales permit whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, I do intend on filing a civil rights lawsuit against the officer, against the partner, against the mayor, the city attorney, and the police chief, and the city as a whole for violating my civil rights and violating everybody else's civil rights that was there today to peacefully assemble and express our support for our 45th duly elected president of the United States, Donald John Trump.
What do you think your outcome will be from this?
I think they want to crucify me. I think that's the outcome. I think they would love nothing more than to take a conservative, put the thorny crown on his head, and actually nail him to a cross.
Well, if you're referring back to Jesus, they made an example of him, didn't they? Is that what you're expecting? Is them to make an example out of him?
Yes, I'm expecting them to do to what they would have done to the Barabbas if Jesus didn't say, let Barabbas go.
So then what will be your outcome if that's the case? Will they silence your voice?
If they get their way and they do crucify me, then I would have fallen on the sword for my beliefs.
Is it easier to be remembered after you die, or is it easier to be remembered when you're in somebody's face?
I'm not looking to martyr myself. What I'm looking to do is lead by example. We have too many wet noodles. We have too many rhinos that claim to be Republicans, and they torque themselves off to be America First candidates, and they're really not.
You know, Blue Lives Matter.
Fellas, I'm sent here, man.
I probably figured that, but
I know. You know what I'm saying?
somewhere along the line, if things keep going the way they're going, people are going to have to start saying no.
You can't look at my cheek and say, "Yeah, I'm not doing
I
that."
did 28 years in law enforcement.
Otherwise, I'll be
Department
standing
of
here. Otherwise, I'll
Corrections.
be standing here next year, right?
I did
And not getting a
I
paycheck.
did 28 years in the Department of Corrections, and I plenty times told my captains, my lieutenants, that I wasn't going to do what they're telling me to do.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
it was an unjust order.
I get fired.
It's an unjust order. You have a union.
Mid-American Patriot. Get some.